Get your name? Can I go here? So who can recap what we covered in the last section?
Wait a minute. You said doesn't wait.
Well, I mean, here it is, right here, if you want some notes. Right here, this whole section we covered. Right there, there it is real brief. But here's this kind of the long way, right? So, do you remember where you were left, what the question was you were asking?
That's
Where's Marco? Is he coming?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool.
that we don't decide what to do and we don't decide how to think because everything we try to do or everything we think over is before it in our brain.
Is decided by context.
Yeah, in the brain, right? Yes. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So the brain does what? Say it, so the brain, see we're kind of bringing him up to speed a little bit too. So the brain does what? Say what the brain does.
Tell what to do. Our mind maybe. Attention.
Yeah, and so what about decisions? How do they fit in to this thing?
Before we express our decisions, stop. Before we express our decisions, they already exist in our brain.
The action.
Yes.
The action comes before the decision. But conventional thinking says that you will have to see this thing to will take you down the steps of neuroscience. When you see the last video, the last classroom that we recorded, you'll see what we're talking about.
It's 12.
Huh? 12, yeah, 12. So, according to neuroscience, and actually on the court experiments on yourself, one's actions are determined before actually even the action is taken. The brain has its neurons are set up with a readiness potential, and when the time comes to act, we act, and the decision comes later. But it looks like the decision comes first. So, you identified what's the problem with that. What do you, yeah, you had a really great question. You had a really great question. Right, so here we are in context. That's what we covered. And so we're looking at what's the source of my way of being and acting.
That our decision
Yes?
is based on that context in which we are behaving, the way that we are being
Yes?
in that context, and it is ourself to feel like how we need to interpret the context. How we occur to that context, and it depends our decision.
Okay, so let me see if I understand what you're saying. So there's life happens, there's the circumstances in life, and it happens, and then the brain acts in accordance with the way those circumstances appear to us.
Appear to us, yes.
Yeah, or really appear to the brain.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And so then what?
We can control this thing.
Yeah, so the question that you said is, so how do we program the brain?
Yes.
How do we control this thing?
It's in our mind and how we occur to that stuff.
Yeah, so how do you access the occurring?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a question that you asked. That's where we left,
Yes.
right? So what we're going to do, we're going to have leader and effective exercise of leadership occur for you in a certain way so that it's your natural self-expression. You don't have to think. Yeah?
It will be using us.
It will be using you. Yes, perfectly said. It will be using you. Like balance uses you when you get on a bicycle. Alright? So we're going to do that. We're going to program your brain so that when life comes at you, you'll be a leader and effectively exercise leadership. That's the phenomenon part. As your natural self-expression, we're going to program our brains for that. Okay? Now, it's going to take, so here we are, program the brain. You got the idea of that you can program the brain. So now we're going to go from here, all the way through here, down to this part here. So until November 21st. We're going to take that time to program our brains. Okay? And you're going to see what it takes to program your brain.
And we won't need like to think, if I were a leader, I will do like that. We
Yeah,
do
no.
like in fish in water, yeah?
Exactly.
It will be our-
Like fish in water, like a bird in the air. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do that. And then right here, on November 25th, we're going to show you how you program. We will have been programmed ourselves, okay? Then we're going to talk about how you do it with yourself and other people. In other words, we're going to give you the 6 or 7-step formula on how that's done after we do it. But first you have to have
To
it.
discover it by ourselves.
Exactly. You need to discover it for yourself. Otherwise, the formula
Is there.
won't be useful.
Okay.
All right? So, this is where we're going to now talk about living with mastery. So you have to get that piece first before we go on to actually programming the brain. This is a piece you have to, of the puzzle that you have to have in place before we go on. Okay? Any questions about any of that? I have to go to 341. All right. So this is what we just did. Rigorously said. Right? We said a lot of words. So you discovered for yourself that the way a situation occurs for you, for me, shows up, is colored and shaped by the context for that situation, and my way of being and acting are naturally, necessarily correlated with the way the situation occurs for me. We worked on this a whole lesson, so if it's kind of tough, you just listen to the previous lesson. But it shouldn't get in the way. So, now, we're going to do a personal experiment. Living with mastery. So you need to live with mastery. Otherwise, this programming thing is not going to be so effective. So this is a public presentation done by Werner Erhard in these different places. So a personal experiment to reveal a master's source of power. That's y'all, masters. You're not talking about somebody else, you're talking about yourself. All right, so here we go. This is the experiment. So, investigating life, living, and you. This multi-step experiment is an investigation into the nature of life and living, including an investigation into the you who exists in life and does the living. When we speak about life, we mean what you live in. 1, the world of stuff, physical objects and their arrangement, and mental entities, and non-human animate entities. That would be like an animal, for instance. Others, people who are not you. You in the world of stuff and with others. And we mean the world, others, and you, as each of these actually occur in your experience, in the living of your life, not as these exist in your concepts about the world, others, or yourself. When we say you, we mean that to which you refer when you say I or me. When we say living, we mean what you do in life and the impact it has on the world, others, and yourself, including on your experience of living. In other words, living is active even if the activity is at the moment being passive. As we said, this multi-step experiment is an investigation into the nature of life and living, including an investigation into the you who exists in life and does the living. It is important to note that this experiment is deliberately not derived from some theory, model, or concept about life or living or you. Conducting this experiment is simply a matter of looking at what is actually so as you experience it. Put in another way, this experiment is an investigation into life as it actually occurs for you rather than you conceptualize it. This is a contrast between what it is to live life as a concept and what it is to live life as you actually experience it. To give you an example of this method of investigation, we will just take a quick look at the first step of this experiment. A quick look at the first step of this experiment, here and there. I'm going to back up here. So, this middle paragraph, put another way, this experiment is an investigation of life as it actually occurs rather than you conceptualize. This is in contrast between what it is to live life as a concept. What happened? Live life as a concept. We did that. Okay, I went backwards. Okay, so it actually occurs for you rather than as you conceptualize it. Okay? So a concept versus the life. So here's a menu from one of my favorite restaurants that you probably recognize, right? And one of the things that I love this restaurant is the vareniki with cherries. It's right here, see? And in life, isn't that good? Well, no, what's the problem? Right? This is not the vareniki with cherries. This is only a representation of it, right? This is a concept. Like a map of the city of Kiev is a concept. It's not the city itself, right? It's a concept. Human beings normally don't make that distinction. We eat the menu instead of the meal. And I think when we watch soap operas, we're eating the menu and not living life. I don't know that the brain can tell the difference when it's turned onto that, that screen. I don't think the way that our brain developed, it can distinguish. It's as though that's life for the brain. Did you see that?
It's like
When you're watching TV, our eyeballs, in the way we evolved over millions of years, don't distinguish that this is the TV. It's as though it's life. I mean, we watch these reality shows, right? Yeah.
It's just like our mirror neurons. They think that this is a reality.
They do. They mirror that, and it looks a lot like reality. And we get hooked on that as though it's life and stop making the distinction between the menu and the meal. So we're going to talk about this some more here. All right, so here's an example. A quick look at the first step in the personal experiment here and there. If, with my back to you, I ask, where are you? You're likely to say, here. If you check this out in your own experience, you will find that no matter where you might be located in the world, where you are for yourself is always here. Alternatively, if I'm looking around for something, say a book that's laying around someplace in the room, you and I are in, and I say, where's the book? You are likely to point to where the book is and say, there. In fact, if you check this out in your own experience, you will find that no matter where anything in the world other than you, including other people, is located, where it will be for you is there. In short, where you are is here, and everything not you is there. Or more fully, you, that is what you're referring to when you say I or me, are always here. And everything else other than you, including other people, is always there. You would say something like, I'm here, everything else is there. Put aside all concepts, theories, and beliefs. Of course, you could come up with a yeah about or how about or what if, in which you could question that where you are is here and where everything else is there. And later in this slide deck, we will resolve what might appear to be exceptions to you are here and everything else is there that people have brought up in the live programs. But if you put aside what you are trying to prove and just look at what is so, you will see that in fact the way you live your life is I'm here and everything not me is there. And that you are here and everything not you is there is an important part of what shapes the way in which life occurs for you. No concepts, theories, or beliefs. Rather, confirm in your own experience whatever is proposed. Each step of this personal experiment must be done rigorously, or as in the case with any experiment, it will lead to false conclusion. That is, as we go along, don't believe anything said, especially if you already agree with it. Rather, verify in your own experience anything proposed or that we are investigating before it is established for you as being so. So, when we say verify in your own experience, we mean verify as you actually experience life. Not verify as being consistent with some thought or belief you have about life. You don't verify the way life is by looking in your head. Life doesn't happen in your head. In order to conduct each step of this experiment with the rigor required to arrive in an unbiased, verifiable observation, it is critical that your investigation not be influenced by any of your existing concepts about life or living or you. By concepts, we mean any of the following: what you know or believe, the ideas you have, any received knowledge, such as what you've been taught or read or have been enculturated by, and even what seems obvious to you. In other words, take nothing for granted. You must look newly at what is being asked. You must look with fresh eyes like you don't already know the answer. A summary of what we have said so far about how to conduct this experiment. This multi-step experiment is not a theoretical investigation into the nature of life and living. Rather, this experiment is an investigation into the nature of life and living as life and living actually occur for you as you live in your life. As you live your life. So, you will be investigating life as you actually experience life in the living of it, in the moment, real time, first person. In other words, the answers are found in the way life is as life is experienced in the living of it. When we speak about life, we mean what you live in. The world of stuff, physical objects and their arrangement, mental entities and non-human animate entities. 2, others, people who are not you. 3, you in the world of stuff and others. And we mean the world, others, and you as each of these actually occur for you in the living of your life, not as these exist in your concepts about the world, others, or yourself. Yes?
So the point of this experiment is to look newly on the things around us, or what?
That's not the point.
What is the point?
Living as a master lives, whatever it said on the first slide.
What
There's-
does it mean?
Huh?
What does it mean?
Well, run the experiment and see what you see from running the experiment. The experiment is critical. Don't have there be any particular point to it yet, or any reason. Don't attach any significance or reason or anything. Just run the experiment and
actions that we should do to run this experiment is to take aside our concepts or what?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I said, I'm here and you're there, you would say, obviously, wouldn't you? Of course. But you would say that because you've been told that. We're actually going to look on the court about that business of I'm here and you're there. We're not going to take it for granted because our parents or somebody told us and they keep telling us that you're there, and so therefore you go, okay, well, I'm here. If you're saying I'm there, then I must be here, and then everybody else is there. And we've been told that for as long as we've been on this planet. And we have not really examined it. We're going to examine it. We're not going to just now take it for granted. Okay? All right. So, back to the first step in this personal experiment, here and there. Next, we will give you an opportunity to check out in your own experience where you, what you're referring to when you say I or me, are located, and where everything else is in the universe, including other people. So now we're actually really going to do the work. We're going to look. So confirm in your own experience that where you are is here and everything else is there. While you are located here and everything not you is located there may first seem trivial, I propose that later in this experiment you will see that this fundamental assumption about here and there shapes and colors the way in which you experience you and everything not you. Moreover, for you it may be obvious that where you are is here and where anything not you is there. However, as we said, to conduct this experiment successfully, it's critical that you not take anything for granted. You must look anew. It is not too much to say that you must discover for yourself both where you are and where everything not you is. Okay, so right now, take the time to check out in your own experience if in fact that where you, what you refer to when you say I or me, exists is here, and where everything else exists is there. Now remember that what we mean by check out in your own experience is not what you think or believe you know, but what you actually discover when you look anew right now in your experience of where you are and where everything not you is. You must discover for yourself by looking into the way you live your life at where, as you live life, you are, and where, as you live life, everything not you is. That last sentence kind of throw you? Yeah, you have to parse it correctly when you read it, but you can get it. Dealing with what might look like an exception to the you are here, everything else is there. One thing you have to watch out for in conducting this experiment is when you treat yourself as though you were two people, namely a you in the present that is referring to you that existed in the past or will exist in the future. On the next slide, we will give you an example of this. For example, in response to someone's question, you might reply, I've been there, or I will be there, referring to a location where you were in the past or will be in the future. In any case, the you who is speaking in the present is for you here, and the you that you are imagining in the past or the future, because this is not you, but a recalled or imagined you, was or will be there. You get that? Okay. When you were there in the past, it was here for you. And when you get there in the future, it will be here for you. The real you is always here. Before going on, confirm this for yourself. Yeah? Can you confirm that? Where you are is where?
Here.
And where's everything else? Huh? There. Okay. All right. You're sure?
Yes.
But we can imagine something and be imagine something there and be here.
And we can say that like this book is here.
Yeah, they're gonna address, they actually say that on this next slide right here. The other thing you have to watch out for is confusing something located close to you as literally being located here. For example, if someone asks you where some object is, let's say call it X, a book, and that object is close to you, you might say that someone, you might say to that someone, X is over here. You don't literally mean that the object is here where you are. You mean that the object is close to here where you are, or in the vicinity of here where you are. Yeah? Confirm in your own experience that where you are is here and everything else is there. After seeing that the apparent exceptions that we just explained ultimately wind up with you here and everything not you there, if you check it out in your own experience, you will find that for you, what you are referring to when you say I or me is always located here. And everything not you is for you always located there. It's simple. No matter what you might think, you in fact live your life. I am here and everything not me is here. We live our life consistent with that.
Everything not me is there.
Huh?
Everything not me is there.
Everything not you is there. Yeah, there.
You said just here.
Everything not me is there. Did I say here? Good, you're paying attention. You passed the test. Anything about that? Okay. So, how to conduct each step of this experiment? With a little effort, you will clearly understand that what we have said about the way in which the steps of this experiment must be carried out in order to get at the nature of life and living, and the you who exists in life and does the living. It is critical to be clear that getting the right answer to what is being dealt with in each step of the experiment is worthless. Getting the right answer is worthless. Because the only truly right answer is the answer you have discovered for yourself. Figuring out the right answer, no matter how brilliantly done, or knowing the right answer, no matter how well educated or experienced you might be, or guessing at the answer, even if your guess is right, and even being told the right answer, all are equally worthless. When you begin working on the first step of this experiment, you may have been thinking, why are they making such a big deal out of here and there? When it is completely obvious that I am here and everything else is out there. Stopping at what is for you obvious about life and living does not allow you to investigate that aspect of life or living as it is actually experienced. What exists for you as merely obvious exists for you as a concept, not as an experience. For example, take for granted that when you walk outside the building you are in, what will be there is elements of the surrounding city or countryside. But when you do walk out of the building you are in, the elements of the city or countryside will be for you what the philosopher Martin Heidegger termed tranquilized obviousness. In other words, you will not discover what is there. The second step in this personal experiment. So everybody's completed the first step. You verified yourself as living, I'm here, you're there. Yeah? Alright, so the second step. Now that we've established and you have confirmed in your own experience, discovered for yourself that you, what you refer to when you say I or me, exist here and everything else exists there, we can go on to the next step of this experiment. Please pick an object that you can see right now, or even better, a person. For the balance of this experiment, we will refer to the object or person you are seeing as X. I know that it is obvious that if you see X, you do experience seeing X. but humor me. And now, please do confirm for yourself that you do experience seeing X. You do experience seeing X. Yes? All right? The third step. So I just want to make sure that you picked an object, right? And I know it's obvious, but you confirm for yourself that you do experience seeing X. You have an experience of seeing X. Yeah? Okay. So the third step. So far we've established that you, what you refer to when you say I or me, is here, and that X is there, and that you do experience seeing X. The third step in this experiment is to establish where seeing X is happening. Please answer the question. Where is seeing X happening?
In our mind.
And respond by pointing to where your experience of seeing X is happening. You verified that you do see X, but where is seeing X happening for you? Like many people, you might point to your eyes. And if I ask you if you mean that your experience of seeing X was happening in your eyes, you would say yes. I mean, if that's... Okay.
It's happening in the part of our brain that is responsible for eyes.
Okay, so you're saying that your experience is in a part of your brain that's responsible.
Yes.
Okay, stay tuned. This is an experiment, okay? And stay open, and we'll see, okay? But if you're seeing X were happening in your eyes, X would be about 2.5 centimeters high and wide, the size of your retina. And X would be upside down because the lenses of your eyes invert light rays coming into your eyes, and X would appear curved with no, because the back of your retina is curved, with no depth, because your retinas are two-dimensional curved surfaces. In any case, if we could examine the pattern of activated rods and cones in your retinas, it would look nothing like what you were seeing. There's no little X located in your eyes, so there's no little book in your eye, or if I picked Levko, there's no little Levko in my eye. Okay? Moreover, if seeing X were happening in your eyes, since you have two eyes, you would see two X's about 7 centimeters apart. Do you experience a little X in your eyes?
No.
No.
In our brain, no.
Yeah.
I just we experience this in here.
What?
We experience this here or there.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going. But it's good. You're looking on the court. You're running the experiment. Considering this, and after you've had the opportunity to confirm yourself that your experience of seeing X is not, in fact, located for you in your eyes. So I now ask you the same question again. Please answer the question, where is seeing X happening? And respond by pointing to where your experience of seeing X is happening for you. Can you do that? Point to where is seeing X happening? Where is it happening?
Here.
Point to it.
Through all this.
This room.
Well, point. What did you pick?
This
I pick Masha.
Okay. So point to where you're seeing Masha happening.
No.
It's like
Point to it.
I can.
Point to where you're seeing Masha. You're onto something. You really are onto something. But point to where.
It is like
Distance.
line.
No, but you're not seeing the line,
Okay.
so you can't
one
point to
slide,
it.
so reverse.
There.
Where?
There.
Where? Point to it.
There.
There. That's where you're seeing her happening, yes?
Yeah.
All right,
No, no.
now let's keep going.
But
It's pretty
stop,
quick.
but
Like many
I
people
got a
do.
question.
Huh?
But I can say that I see her here in this room. Not there, but
А, це
here.
така штука.
Yeah, but
що-
the question is, where is seeing her
Here.
happening?
Here, in this room.
Це in this room, це ти описуєш предмети, які близькі до тебе, це що з книжкою.
But I can say here, then.
Не.
Not there.
He is saying that here, he means that thing that is close to him.
All right, if
Here
she's
is
not
on-
in the room, can you see her happening?
What can you say?
If she's not in this room,
No.
okay, let's put her in the hall. Where do you see
And,
her
and
happening?
if she isn't in this room, I think I can say that she is there. Everything.
But where do you
everywhere.
see Masha happening? Where do you see Masha happening?
Here, in this room.
Point to it. Point to where.
It is there. He
Yes.
means just that Madara said about the book, that actually there is for him here because it is close.
All right, what did you pick? What is your X?
X.
Yeah, did you pick an X? That was what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to pick an X.
Just some
Object.
object
The
to the wybór. Just some object.
Pick an X, which was to be an object or a person. Did you pick an X?
Actually,
See, you can't run this experiment conceptually. That's probably what your problem is right there. Is you're answering from a concept. Okay. So, please pick an object that you can see right now. Got one?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your object? Who?
Her.
Me again?
Masha? Again?
Yes,
Okay,
for
come on.
example, I just.
All right, so that's your X. Now, and you're not seeing her in your brain or in your eye, because you don't experience seeing her there. All right? So, we're going to do this. All right. Where were we?
This
Okay,
one.
here we go. All right, now, so where is seeing Masha happening? Point to where where seeing.
You want me to say there, yes?
You have to regardless of what I want you to say, you have to see for yourself. Where, just point to where you see Masha, where you see her happening. That's where you see her you do see her happening there.
Yes.
Okay, good. All
Yeah.
right.
Why,
Yeah.
why is it so essential to divide things for happening here and there? Why can't we say that everything is happening here? Just why not? Just
I don't
it's
know.
a good experiment.
Let's
yeah, good
finish
theory.
the experiment and see what you can see about that, okay?
Okay.
All right, run the experiment, and then we can
Okay.
see into that, okay? All right. Now, here's the part where you've already discovered this for yourself. But here's the part where if you actually think X is happening in your brain, as somebody said, but you guys are fast, you quickly discovered that you don't see X happening in your brain. But here's the part where, but if you were seeing X happening in your brain, X would appear to you bounded by the size of an average human brain, 10 by 14 or 10 by 14 by 7 centimeters. Moreover, the network of activated patterns of neurons in your brain, as seen in MRI studies, that give rise to your experience of seeing X look nothing like X. In fact, if there was a hole in your skull and a pencil was pushed through your brain, you would have no experience of that. More pointedly, if you actually look at your experience of seeing X, it would be absolutely clear for you that you have no experience up in your head of a smaller version of Masha located there. You don't experience seeing X in your brain.
I think I catch the thing what is going on.
What?
Like,
When it is when this thing is going to
think I catch that.
You think you can what?
I think I catch the right way all this stuff is going to.
Yes, I know. I'm
It's
one of those
about
guys too, that I
reality
think I know
and-
where things are going, and then they end up going somewhere else, and it really throws you off track.
Yeah.
But I got it, I understand. I got up in front of a whole bunch of people and said the same thing you did.
Okay.
But you asked us to see where our seeing is happening.
Yeah, where,
But we were pointing at where that thing is located.
I didn't ask that. Where are you seeing X happening?
It is happening there.
Yeah, there.
That's where you experience her happening, is there.
But
Not where seeing happens.
But
Oh,
when
okay,
we use
hold
our
on.
memory.
Hold on. Let's take this one step at a time. So, if you actually look at your experience of seeing X, you'll be absolutely clear for you that you have no experience up in your head of a smaller version of real X that is located out here. You don't experience seeing X in your brain. We've already covered that.
Yes.
You discovered that. The first critical point to be gained from this experiment: a master encounters life as it is lived, and as a consequence deals with life as it is lived, rather than dealing with life